welcome to Rusty and Nellie's Jungle. So today it's still fairly nice. It's beginning of November. Half of the trees are now laying on my lawn. Lots of work to do around here. One of the things I've been procrastinating about is getting the cannas that I still had in my pots in my backyard out. So we're going to show you. They're definitely spent. They used to be big and beautiful, now not so much. So we'll show you how we take them out and store them for the winter. I tried using a shovel on this one. That's usually how I loosen them, but this seems to have taken up the whole pot. So we're going to see if we can just shake it out. Again, yes, the roots have completely taken the whole pot. But now, oh, so much simpler in the garden. Just gonna take them out. Cut the stalks off. And these have gotta dry out for a few days. Sometimes it can take up to a week, depending on what the humidity in the house is. And then we wrap them in newspaper, put them in a cardboard box, and they get to live in the basement for the winter until I bring them out in the spring.
So what is this right here?
That is the bulb of the plant.
What type of bulb?
Canna bulb?
Oh. I've always found that the LED bulbs are more efficient.
Oh, you're cute. Oh my god, this is just one big mound of bulbs and root. So much easier when you can just dig them out of the garden, shake the dirt off, and away you go.
While she's doing that, once these are dry for next year, you can actually just separate each of these off if you wish. You can plant it the whole way and you'll have a great big section with probably 1, 2, 3, 4, many different sprouts coming out, plants. Or you can just rip them off, each individual bulblet, and plant them individually, and they will grow, and you'll have individual plants, and they will become, like this, will become the size of this in the fall. So don't be afraid.
Sometimes you're lucky and they break right off, and you can just throw it in the basket.
Hey.
Oh. Okay, the pots are way more challenging this year than usual. Okay, so after much effort, we've gotten this broken apart. And as you can see, this started off as one bulb that has grown. Oh, actually, maybe you can't see yet with all the dirt on it. It's grown into many multiple bulbs with several heads on it. These can all be taken apart in the spring if you want, or planted all as one big giant bulb. Really doesn't matter how you do it. Breaking it apart does not hinder the growth. They still wind up like this because I broke them all apart this spring so that I was able to have them in many new spots. And yeah, one little bulb. And this is what I have. Now, when I used to only have a small amount of bulbs to deal with, I would also go through the effort of cutting off all of these roots. They really don't need to have them during storage. But I found that it doesn't hurt them to have them during storage and have them there the next year either. It does kind of help to figure out top from bottom when you look at them again in the spring, because sometimes they can shrink up a bit.
So what's the next step after this?
They have to sit in there and dry for a while. Some of the ones that have more dirt on them, I'll probably take the time to wash them off so that the dirt isn't causing any fungus growth or causing any moisture retention during storage, so they won't rot.
Okay.
And
Yep.
then we take the time to wrap them all individually in newspaper, because you don't want each of the bulbs touching each other during storage, because they, again, will build up moisture between them and cause the bulbs to rot, rendering them completely useless next year.
We've done about 40 boxes so far, and they're actually packed away in the basement. So we're talking thousands of canna bulbs. We've wrapped them up. We do have some in the house that are in the drying stage, so we will show you that in the boxes. And if I find some photos of pre-boxing for the large amount, I will attach them to this video.
It's not as easy to do when you let them get to this point.
Yeah, we did the last ones, what do you think, 3 weeks ago? It was before Thanksgiving.
Oh God, it's been a month now.
Yeah, about a month ago, so it was real easy. We've left these planters here, we've got them all over the place, and we've left them. We've had snow actually last week. We've gone down to -3 at night a couple times, so these have now spent, but the bulbs are fine.
Perfectly healthy, happy bulbs. Just was too cold at night during that cold spell for the foliage. I love it when they deal with themselves. All right, so that took a lot longer than it normally does. I'm guessing because this is the first year that I've ever jam-packed these pots with just straight cannas. So we definitely had a lot of root issues and had to dump most of the pots completely out, which is a new experience for me. Breaking apart those root systems was a little brutal. I'm a tad bit winded. I feel like I need a drink now. Normally what we would have done, if we had done it a little earlier in the year before all the foliage was spent, separate them by which type of canna lily they are. We usually have specific names, I don't know. Green leaf one and purple leaf one, and my yellow flower and purple flower ones that I get. Normally I'd keep them separate, mark the boxes for what they are, so that next year we can pick and choose what we're gonna plant where. These are gonna be mixed boxes this year because there was no telling one bulb from the other. So we're gonna take these in, let them dry out. We'll show you the ones that we already have in the process of drying out that should be ready to just be wiped down and wrapped up with paper. Stupid hair is blowing in my face. And then we'll stuff them in the boxes, and that'll be that for them for the winter.
And here's some slideshows of, we don't have any videos, we just started this channel in November, so the garden was pretty much done. We dug up everything, but we've got some slides of the garden in the summer, and you can take a look at. I'm going to try and put some of the canna beds in there so you can see how we planted the canna beds, and here we go. Okay, so I'm in the basement right now, and I'm just going to show you what we've done so far,
because the ones that Nellie's doing right now they were in our planters. We kind of left them to the last minute. But earlier, probably about a month ago, we brought in the cannas that we had in our gardens. So these are the boxes that we've already done. And as you can see, it's kind of dark, sorry about that. It's in our dungeon, but as you can see, there is an enormous amount of cannas that we have done so far. And yeah, every single one is full with cannas, half red, probably half green. And that's what we've done so far. And we've got probably just 3 more boxes of the ones that were in our planters.
Okay, so we've got a few bulbs here that have already had some time to dry out. We used to be really meticulous about washing them off and cutting off all the roots and whatnot, but we have so many of them now that if we lose 1 or 2 over the wintering period, we're not too terribly worried about it anymore. So just really doesn't even matter how tight, just as long as the whole thing is covered. Wrap it in newspaper and we stick them in the box. I'll knock some more of this clay off of these ones. She's a bit of a giant. And rinse and repeat until you've got them all wrapped up. Store them in a nice cool dry location and bring them back out in the spring, and happy planting.